spawning together, they're playing together, they're usually on the same map. So let's see it as we get into game number 2.
Yep, okay. Immediately we're seeing just a standard fan, no fancy level 1 shenanigans going on here. If anything was to happen, I imagine it would be from the side of Mirage. They have the potential fresh threat level 1. Victor's job quite easy. He's not against a Zac like you would normally fear going into someone like Memento. He is purely against the volley bear. Normal vision control will let him know if he is under threat. He can play mid lane out fairly simply. If DOS is able to get unlocked on the bot side here, he can make plays on the Ryze very, very easily. If Ryze is an accelerating hard early game, isn't able to build these tanky MR items that give him move speed, stuff like the Force of Nature that would allow him to trade HP to get into these fights, then he's completely out the game. So Ica just has to not give him opportunities, right? But at the same time, Ryze has a lot of good early clear options that Ica simply can't match, right? But we are seeing Volley go top to bot, not a bot to top, probably not looking to do anything heavy topside early then. This game might be decided around bot. We have Yike, on the other hand, going bot to top instead. Ryze leaning very heavily topside here, trying to contest wave. Be interesting to see what Wang Jun does on these initial waves.
Yeah, because you know Bad Lulu is going to get just naturally get the early push against Ragnar, right? So being able to punish him early on would create a really solid point of contention for LDLC, and Bad Lulu not being a factor in this game would be extremely detrimental. But you were talking a bit about how bot lane would definitely be a big point within this game, and I don't disagree with you. Cody-san, we've seen him perform fantastically on the Aphelios. That's really where we saw him in Nice, absolutely pop off against BDSA. So him on the Aphelios, again, we know can be a really good look alongside Raxos Thresh, which has been immaculate.
Pushing quite hard on bot lane here. This actually gives Jinx some options in terms of preventing the crash. We did just see Rangjun, though, ward towards topside, spot out Yike on those race. Bad Ludo has very good information, but he must know that in the position he's in right now, Yike could choose to do a gank on topside that Rangjun's not going to be able to answer. He doesn't have mana here, and teleport doesn't work like it used to. Yike on the Krugs here, looking to see if maybe he could end up doing something topside. We shall see. Pointed out the Gromp, so with that and knowing the numbers that Yike was on with the ward, he probably knows now that Wolves is actually still up on level 1 for him. He knows Gromp is the second camp, so we'll see if Memento gets to do anything with that information.
Yeah, because there is a ward as well right in that tri-bush, right where Yike is looking to enter. So as he gets spotted out, we see Bad Lulu actually still staying in lane as the hook lands bot side. For Zenith Blades, a good amount of CC on both ends as the cleanses pop. Execute takes a bunch of damage, and there's the cleanse from him. So just some traded between both ADCs.
Yeah. Raxo almost soloing Exekick there. The cleanse does get rid of the ignite. He still has the Grievous Wounds there for a little bit of the pots. Definitely not looking very safe there. Rangjun now, he's going to recall. He might teleport back to the lane and attempt to do a fast push because it looks like a dive on bot is the call. Yes, he is doing that. If he does a fast push, he can pin Ica in lane. He's not going to be able to join this dive though. But with this teleport, he may have just set Ica pretty far behind. Ica may be forced into a choice there. This dive ultimately, it denies CS, right? Which is very, very good win for them. But DOS Exekick, they play safe. They know that they don't have the cleanse on Exekick. And Bad Lulu just continues to play lane out here. He has an empowered Q available if Ragnar thinks about getting him really, really low. He's moving up to Fredwin that, trying to force the crash, but Ragnar just won't let him. He won't let you leave the lane, Bad Lulu. Oh, that feels bad actually for him. He's locked here until he can get that minion wave on the tower and cause it to start bouncing back. But Ragnar is sustaining up with the W. He's just not letting him get in range, and Yike's gonna be up here soon, and Bad Lulu might be stuck on a bad wave. You can see he's continuing to trade. Exekick, on the other hand, relieving himself from a bad wave. Won't deny any CS to Aphelios, though. Aphelios loses maybe a minion on this. And will get lane priority, and this also gives permission for Fresh to move to mid first. Looks like Bad Lulu's had to just accept that he will not get a perfect state on this wave. It will eventually slow push back into him, but he will be denied for a wave. Ragnar is going to recall. Looks like they're just going to trade TPs on top side. Good job by him, and you can see the lead coming in for Ragnar there. Nice play by him on the top side.
Yeah, and I believe Bad Lulu was also aware that just the longer he stays, there is that threat of Yike, like you were mentioning, eventually ganking him. So it is simply not worth overstaying there. But I believe that they've done a good job of actually just tracking Yike. So for now, this will be a free dragon given over to the side of Mirage. Gonna start the dragon stack early, right pretty much at the 5-minute mark. So not too bad as you get a couple of trades, but a slow and controlled early game from these two teams.
So that was an advantage on bot that got translated into an advantage on mid and a window on bot where Cody Sun could free farm without the fresh. That's what translated into the mid push, and all this translates into a free Drake for Mirage. It is a Hextech Drake. This is the most valuable single Drake in the game right now. The new Infernal, the new Mountain in certain compositions. The Hextech is the all-around winner. Yike here defending just in case Volibear decide to transition straight into a dive. Volley, though, just happy to reset his camps here.
As we see, Yike should spot Memento, and he does indeed. Question is, will he actually try to engage against it? No, probably not. He'll simply just put down his shadow, make his presence known, as both Raxo and Cody Sun also walk up to put up a little bit of a shield, assert dominance, if you will.
And Rangjun had push on mid, and bot lane was most recently pushed by Cody Sun. Raxo Vex kicked us on the tower. DOS going for an engage.
TC being put down. Yeah, that's going to be it. But here's the follow-up as well. Both mid laners get a kill. Going forward, Cody Sun getting out of the lightning storm. So that'll be all she wrote. Just supports.
That had to be a fast play there from DOS. He had to know that he was at a numbers disadvantage and Cody Sun could move in a situation where it couldn't. Rangjun, though, ends up with the kill versus Ica. Rangjun needs these kills to be able to get the itemization. He wants to be safe in these fights. So good result for them. But Ica, you know, he's also going to do a lot in these late game team fights for the kills, so ultimately the game just slows down a bit further, and LDLC do have the harder scaling front to back composition. Rangjun now fishing for something around top side, just in case something actually happens, but he's not going to find it on this wave.
Unfortunately not, but I think for now though, I think Mirage are happy with walking away with the trade that they had. Like you mentioned, translating small leads into 1 point after another. That was... he was looking to solo him if he could.
But Ragnar's played this game so well, actually. Like, playing versus Bad Lulu on the initial wave states, getting and holding the freeze for as long as he could when Bad Lulu opted to push, when he probably should have just allowed the bounce back. He was able to take advantages from it, and he's playing knowing he has these advantages. Rangjun on this wave is able to do something with his team, but ultimately it's a Herald. Ragnar gets a recall on top lane, and that's now out the game. It's a good time for him to reset. He knows this isn't the time to repush topside because his team is playing hard around bot. He doesn't want to give enemy team, who just did the Herald, an opportunity to make a play on him, drop Herald there, and turn this into an even trade rather than just an advantage for LDLC. They're going for the red buff now.
I just wanted to point out that before Ragnar actually back, he was 18 CS up, almost 20 on Bad Lulu 2. So you can see he's been having a wonderful time in this lane, like you mentioned, playing fantastically. And in this Gragas matchup, I was assuming that he get pushed in, but speaking of getting pushed in, Memento caught by the Raptors, gets a small shield and has to ult away under the tower, but just not out of range enough. And now the next target will be Rangjun, but he's far enough away to survive.
Nicely played there by LDLC. Good map movements by DOS and Yike to trap Memento in the bot side jungle. They'd already made a play on red buff. They had no immediate reason to go bot. They're going to make a repeat play onto Rangjun. Ultimately, that will deny him CS, but he will be able to make it out here.
Yeah, just flash.
The one who's under threat is Jinx.
Like you were saying, because right now XK has been left alone for so long that he has to play so far back, denied a little bit of XP and farm nonetheless. So speaking of farm leads, Cody Sun doesn't have a bad one at all.
Were this a red buff straight back towards bot lane, Cody Sun wouldn't be getting the advantage he's getting, and he is the guy that from draft we was saying has to be the big damage threat for Mirage because of the range issue that Rise is going to face, but by extending for the Memento pick, successful as it was, extending even further for the Rise pick, this hasn't been the one-sided trade LDLC were looking for. In spite of Ragnar's best efforts, Cody Sun actually got a lot from this, and now he's even going to get first tower. An opportunity opened up by this massive extension by DOS and Yike into the bot side of Mirage.
And we see effect Rangjun as well. Roaming down bot side, he should encounter Yike in front of him, so he knows it's a fight he can't take early on. He has almost no damage to be able to duel this, which will become a 2v1 very quickly. So he has to back away. Battle feeling confident, has the heal from the Q. Yes. The cask misses. That's so unfortunate. And now Ragnar actually might be able to get the trade. He does enough damage. He has the Bramble, and he'll force them away. The rocket. Going, and it's gone! Bullseye!
Oh, Bad Lulu. Bad Lulu actually kind of hinted a little bit there. If that cast landed, he was just dead straight up. He survived down about 150 HP. Ragnar, though, missed the cast. Jinx ends up finding the kill as a result. It's difficult to understand why he fully opted into this trade. He'd likely end up having to just burn Flash here if he was to land that cast, but Ragnar doesn't. Bad Lulu keeps going, recognizing the advantage, sees here how close that actually was when he's on 250 HP. Amazing this Jinx rocket hit.
Oh, that was amazing trajectory. The fact Exekick might be a sniper at this point, considering how we actually planned, knowing where Bad Lulu would be. And Ragnar, I find, had a small plot to play in it too. It's making sure that the position was just perfect. Speaking of which, DOS locked inside the box, and that'll be all that they thought.
That was definitely not it there. Mirage ahead on top side with numbers, and now with DOS's death, Exekick and Yike, they just have to retreat away from this top side tower. So that's bot tower going first to Mirage. They're now pinning top side. And that's it. That's the game right there.
I guess so. Yeah, that's.
I guess that's it. That's just how it goes. Sometimes you just have to accept when you're defeated. But honestly, though, LDLC still have a lot. Okay, we are back in the game. LDLC still have a lot of options. Look at this bounty on Ica here. That's representative of a very, very powerful Victor coming into later stages of the game. Sure, you're getting these tier 1s now in this wide map state, rotating Rangjun, rotating Fresh, sometimes getting individual picks, individual advantages, but eventually you're going to be sieging tier 3. You're going to have to be going into this Victor, into a very, very long range Jinx, and you have to get into them through Leona, through Gragas.
Speaking of getting into Victor, Ica's left alone, but the lightning might do just enough damage. The Heartbreaker will not land. Raxo appears just in time. The second rocket is absorbed by Raxo. Look at that, just a synergy. And now, going down the bot lane to recreate a scene from the top lane.
Well, I think one of the most powerful and underrated abilities in this game is that lantern that you just saw Raxo use there. It's a repositioning tool, allowed Volibear to extend far more aggressively than he would have been able to beforehand and survive. We were talking about Ica becoming this potential PowerPoint for LDLC later. They take care of it there. They get another assist onto Rangjun. Exekick versus Cody Sun. Yeah.
Suddenly not working out.
Yeah, definitely at this point, Aphelios is the stronger champion in a one-on-one scenario. It's in the 5-on-5s later on that Jinx is going to really shine. But for now, can't afford to overstep versus Cody Sun's Aphelios. They even know how to play that matchup in North America.
I mean, he is one full Doran's Blade up here, veteran. So I think the power scaling definitely speaks for itself. But one thing I did want to talk to you about as well, because one thing we were discussing before going into the game, especially when we're talking about Raxo, is just how the jungle support matchup will play out right between these two teams, considering how Memento, Raxo been linking up, and Yike as well has had standout performances.
Yes, for sure, and it's been extending into this mid-game. They've been finding these 3v2, 2v1 skirmishes that favor them, but like you were saying, Bad Lulu's kind of being left on his own a little bit versus Ragnar. Ragnar had that early advantage. Thus far, Mirage's only response to that early advantage to Ragnar is to try to keep making things happen elsewhere on the map. It's difficult to see how useful this Renekton is going to be later on, given that he wasn't played heavily around, and you could even see this just on first click. That's my big question about Mirage. what is the role for Bad Lulu in these fights later on, given the state of the game?
I think he's simply meant to be a meat shield, honestly. He goes in, probably lands a stun, and then if he survives, he survives. If he dies, well, so be it, I guess. Cody-san being murdered by Raxo Memento, so he makes sure he can safely push the wave. Ragnar will take his consolidation prize and simply wait for the wave to push into him. As if DOS is roaming up, and Yike as well has managed to wake your top side as well, along with almost all of LDLC moving topside.
Moved all topside with what spawning in 30 seconds time. The Drake on bot, they timed that Herald topside beautifully. They've dragged all of LDLC there to defend. They've gotten a better set of recalls and better economy than LDLC, and now they can even contest them getting in towards the Drake because of that positioning advantage. If LDLC wanted to match on economy, they'd have to be resetting now and then going back in. But instead they decide to go back in for positioning, makes them a little bit weaker on the potential contest here. Ryze has ultimate. This can turn into a fight. Bad Lulu gonna be the meat shield.
Oh, he's 2 people in, and the immediate stun. Look at Exakick, who gets the free fire against both of them, but now he goes in and consider the attack speed. He can simply walk out. That's 3 kills, almost going his direction, and now they might be able to look for more. Raxo is so low. Ragnar says, "Catch that, buddy. That one's for you." As they look to extend, that's 4 people gone from Mirage.
And there you see the power of LDLC's double threat composition, arguably triple threat given how Ragnar's going. It's not over yet though.
Oh no, Cody's son, no stun landing, looking to get the blast cone, but they're just chasing him down here, man, and he should be able to get out of this. But how long can he run for? The second stun will not be in range, and he manages to get out alive.
Yeah, I mean, that team fight though, Bad Lulu, he did his job. He was supposed to be a meat shield. He was on top of Ica the entire time. Ica was not a part of the rest of that fight, but just Exakick, Ragnar, Yike was still more than enough to out-damage Mirage's composition, even with Bad Lulu zoning Ica for the whole fight. Ica, the guy who's been getting a lot of the gold and a lot of the priority from LDLC. So you can see how difficult these good situations are. You can see here Bad Lulu straight on towards Ico, keeps going. Yike, DOS, they're all in the middle of much healthier champions with Cody-san, with Ranger, with Raxo, but it's just not enough. Exakick was barely even there for most of it. They can't contest, even if Bad Lulu's able to remove one person from the fight. You can just see the better team fighting composition exists on red side, not blue side. So Mirage have to think very carefully about if they actually want to go for these fights, even when they feel like they're in a position of an advantage.
And this was a very similar situation the first time these 2 teams met. LDLC drafted almost the exact same way, and when it came down to the 5v5s in the mid game, they were simply better. But this might be the turning point. They catch Ragnar, but they trade 1 for 1. It's jungler for support, and now LDLC turn it back around again. Exakick not being capitalized on, and let the Rockets hail free as he gets the double. Yike goes in. They're going past the tower, and they will get Cody-san this time. The blast cone will not save him. It is a 2 for 5 for LDLC.
I feel like a consistent thread we've been seeing for the last 2 days in the LFL, arguably the last few weeks, have been there are teams like Mirage that are trying map split compositions with very, very, you could almost say, patient styles of play. And then there are teams like LDLC that are like, let's just build the biggest UG smash comp possible, and then they smash. Right, and it's this nice balance between, can this team execute their much more experimental off-meta playstyle that may become good in a future patch versus LDLC's very pragmatic approach? Because you're right, we've seen this composition from LDLC before. I feel like we've seen this composition from LDLC almost every game, short of a game that they played at Nice, where they actually finally looked into enchanters. It's normally these double tank compositions with very, very easy carries to play. And Mirage here, they're the experimental ones. The experiment here, not going so well.
Sadly, no. It's a Bad Lulu yet again left on an island. I just want them to give this guy 1 game. just one, just to prove that
Yeah.
they know he exists somewhere. I know he's not good until like he's level 7, guys, but I promise it's worth investing into him. As he watches his lane and his towers fall before him, Memento can simply get the first class ticket to the show, but this might be a show you might not want to attend as he looks to get out the back door, losing almost all of his health.
Honestly, he hasn't necessarily been like the highlight player of the game, but I do just want to point out Exakick's consistency in this game, short of that 1v1 he probably shouldn't have allowed himself to fall into with Cody Sun on the top side. He's played all these team fights well. He's being able to be a consistent source of damage output for LDLC in situations where Ica couldn't, and that's paying heavy dividends for them in this game. The next Drake's coming up. Looks like Mirage looking to try to contest Baron instead, maybe even try to trade objectives. It's not sole point for either team yet. I want to see how Mirage decide to play at the next phase, because they don't have tempo on the map. They can't just split LDLC. LDLC can probably just push as aggressively they want on any particular point and not lose anything at all.
Yeah, considering they're moving as 5 right now, they know that the 5v5, they can just brunt force down anything they want to. 4 towers down for themselves, push all the way to the base, both in top and mid against Mirage. So now Mirage has to be careful, because if they don't manage their wave states, then suddenly they're at a threat of losing half their base and potentially even the game, as Soul Point will go over to LDLC.
I agree with Mirage not to contest this, but ultimately they couldn't contest this even if they wanted to. They couldn't even trade it for anything with all of the waves pushed in the way that they are and no control of bot side jungle to go for the bot wave. They can't do anything. They've just been shut out. LDLC have them in a choke right now, and Mirage have no clue what to do in this situation. Arguably, there may not even be much they can, short of waiting for someone on LDLC to just make themselves fully out of position, and then Rangjan to try to teleport in with his Realm Warp, or maybe even Fresh and Memento to be hovering at an opportune moment and just take advantage of his individual misplays. That's all they can hope for right now, but it's a waiting game for them there. For LDLC, the win conditions are very, very simple for them. They can't be contested in either side of the river right now, so long as no one gets individually caught. The game is as simple as a group, walk up as 5, and just walk your way into the Nexus and into your latest win.
Yeah, because as of right now, LDLC, like you were mentioning, with how much control they have over the map, the next overall target for both of these teams, of course, has to be the Baron. And if we just look at all the vision control that LDLC has, just a straight line all the way down from Mirage's jungle up towards top side. They have all of that water. They have complete control there. So Mirage know that if they want to gain top side control, they're now also at a threat of potentially just losing the bot lane towers as well. Something that they definitely do not want to do, would prove very detrimental, but they get a couple of seconds of relief. The question is now, both even LDLC decide it's not necessarily worth it. We'll simply continue to reset, scale up, and probably play around the next drink.
Yep, or even the Baron that's been up this entire time. Curious to me that LDLC have never actually prepped for it, likely because they're trying to spend time breaking down this tier 2 on bot side. It's 900 gold, and that grouping they're not pressing Baron. Cody
my god!
There we go.
That was beautiful from Ragnar alongside Exaking, and now they go in. That's the pick, and there's the second. Rexo slowed. Exaking just keeps on landing those 1W after the next, but with Cody's Sun down, like you were mentioning, Baron the next target, and they'll get it for free pretty much.
Yep, I mean, missed the last 2, but we hit the third time's a charm on the Drag Assault from Ragnar. Displaces Cody Sun, displaces Raxo, burns summoners from Cody Sun, turns into a lockdown by DOS into a rocket by Exakick. Just the composition, it flows so naturally one after the other, and that's your reset on Yike right there. That's a team fight. Another reset coming in here. An exciting on Jinx. Yike now with the Fresh. It's so difficult to step up in almost any circumstance against this team. Victor has such control of the corridors. DOS can face tank so much before anything severe happens to him, and Jinx will never really be in range of you in Yike. He's always there, always waiting for the first guy to go down, for him to get his first resets. What can you really do against this composition? It's worked for LDLC before, it's worked every time for them, and they love going back to this bread and butter.
And In fact, we were looking at Mirage to be the ones to potentially get the pick. We were looking at them
Yes.
to set up something like that. But considering that they're the ones getting caught in this position, as the game goes on here, veteran, I feel as though Mirage's chance to get more desolate and desperate and then be put into a very unfortunate, desperate situation. Now it's Baron pushing into them at that next Dragon time, but they know they have to contest this because both Baron and Infernal Soul would definitely be the final nail in the coffin.
Yep, LDLC definitely setting up their endgame here. They will finally get this tier 2 on bot side that they've been pivoting around for ages, even to the detriment of the Baron. But there's nothing to trade away. The wave on top side is almost towards Mirage's base. The wave on midsection, well, there is really none on blue side. They may have made a pick in this small corridor. So difficult to play into Victor there, and it's Cody Sun down. The second damage dealer with Rangjun cannot enter the fight anymore. Jinx just barely misses Locket, but doesn't matter. Rangjun needs to get into the base because he cannot join this fight. But the base is being broken right now. Excited
That
on
is
Jinx.
it here, veteran. Like you saw, with one more going down, with them catching Cody's son too. The last person you want to catch, LDLC, play it clinical. Like you said, getting their bread and butter compositioning and making sure to butter the toast on both sides. One after the next, the towers will fall. Another ace for LDLC OL as they will go up in the standings 7-3 against Mirage to get the run back in week 5. Look at that.
There's something to be said about the insistence of